All right. You got the notification with recording, whatever? Meeting is being recorded. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna meet a couple of more people here. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it is recording. So good evening. It's 7:01. This is the Bronx Community Board 8 Environment and Sanitation Committee meeting. A warning to everyone: we have some new gear installed in the office, and this is the very first meeting testing this new gear. To my own surprise, everything works at the very first click, and then let's hope we keep it this way. But if any problems or whatever with the sound, etc., please let me know. Do you hear me clear enough? Excellent. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Let me go. I will go very quickly. I will try my best to be brief and not to speak too much myself, because we have several issues, including documents to review. And without further ado, let me go straight into roll call. Myself, Camelia Capellus, present. Robert Fanuzzi.
I am present.
Rashida Hilliard.
Here.
Thank you. And we would have had Deb Travis that is missing, but I'm confirming actually quorum as it is with 3 out of 4. Karen Argenti.
Present.
Thank you so much. Quorum is being confirmed. I'm moving to approve the minutes of the March 15 meeting, which was minutes which were distributed by the office on March 27 at 10:36 a.m. Can I please have a motion?
So moved.
It has to be Rashida or Robert.
Second. I second it.
Any abstentions? Anybody against? Hearing none, I am deeming that the minutes are being approved unanimously in conditions of quorum. In terms of chairperson's report, I will just keep it very quickly, mentioning mentioning the forthcoming very important meetings related to the Tibet project. They will be, an email was sent out from the office to everyone today with the Eventbrite links. I personally registered this morning and they work. So Monday, April 24, it will be a tag Zoom from 5 to 7 p.m. followed by Thursday, April 27, a site visit from 9 a.m. On the site visit, I noticed they didn't give a meeting point, but hopefully they will update that on Eventbrite. Very important for us, and for us meaning Environment and Sanitation Committee as well as Parks Committee, we will have a joint meeting on May 24, that is next month, where DEP will formally present to the community board, but by then, likely we will have a lot more information than we have today, so we would be able today to review an initial version of our resolution on the matter. I will keep it like this, in terms of the chair's report, because I see a guest we've been anxious to meet. Mr. Andrew Buder, thank you so much for being with us. Mr. Buder is the Director of Government and Community Relations for Metro North Railroad. We have invited him to share with us more information about the conditions of usage of the area of the tracks sort of south of 225th Street. Hey, Deb. And on this particular item, since it was raised by Bob Fanuzzi, I would like to invite Bob to sort of chair the agenda item and conduct the conversation. Just to recap, we are giving space to speak primarily to committee members based on order of raising hands. But we also accept questions from the public. Just everybody, please be so kind and be like brief and to the point, so that we have time to go through all our agenda items. With this, Mr. Buller, if you would need to like share a presentation or something, I could make you co-host, Mr. Buller.
not sure if I have I do not have a PowerPoint for you guys tonight, so I don't necessarily need to share my screen unless I do have some photos that may be relevant at a later point during our conversation, and it never hurts to have the ability to show the site that we're talking about, but I don't necessarily have
You know
a
what? I would just
presentation.
make the co-host just, I don't know, just in case.
Sure.
And with this, I'm passing the baton over to Robert Fanuzzi to start. Once again, thank you, Mr. Buder, for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Andrew, thanks for being
Hi.
here. My name is Robert Musi, and Camelia asked me to take this part of the meeting because of the committee's long history with MTA in the Marble Hill area. And our committee actually has had a long history and keen interest in the MTA property along the waterfront, and now in the area between 225th and 230th. So just so you know, I check back, and we really work very closely with MTA or Metro North to do a cleanup of refuse that has gathered on sides of the track. So we really have had some nice experiences with MTA. In addition, the MTA at one point was putting its trains idling right in front of Marble Hill houses for a little bit while they were doing some transport of trains. So our committee really asked, very clearly, please move, and you did. So you've been responsive in the past to community concerns. One of the things that we really bring to this is a focus on environmental justice, because what we're looking at when we see Marble Hill is one of the city's poorest census districts. Just so you know, 20% of the population is below the poverty line, and I think the median income, per capita income, is $20,000. Okay, so it's just something to really bring to any consideration of core infrastructure and facilities when you look at maps. And this is a really important one to have. So, so last year, we noticed some cleanup in this property in question we're talking about today. And it was clear that something was going to happen. Nobody had talked to us, but we saw some platform cars entering, and we did see some improvements in the area that had been kind of left abandoned for quite a while. I made some inquiries to Mark Mannix, okay, from I believe MNR, right? And Mark recently retired, but was kind enough to check back, and we asked him, do you have plans for this? And he didn't say what the plans were, but he got a message reiterated that this is our property to do what we want. So we kept waiting. What is going to happen? And one of the reasons we keep on waiting and want to know what's happening, we want to make sure our community is protected from any kind of additional burden of critical infrastructure, because the Bronx is really a central location for critical infrastructure in the city of New York. But we are also, as you know, in the middle of a massive public benefit project of building an economic development project of building greenways that will connect to the Harlem River. So we've been waiting to see what role MTA will play. Then we all learned by way of the press that MTA is bringing Long Island Railroad into Grand Central Station. And as a result, changes had to be made in the facilities that are used to maintain the trains and to transfer garbage cars. So that's where we are, and that's why we invited you here. So we really do want to hear directly from you what the facts are right now, what is there, and why are they there. And also, Andrew, we are really interested in understanding how MTA makes these decisions. We do see them as having impacts that may not be at first in your consideration, but when they're actually, your plans are put into action, they do. So we're interested in the process by which you decide basically who wins and who loses. So can you tell us what's there right now, why it's put there, and how do you decide what goes where? So you please go ahead and just lay out the facts for us. Thank you.
Sure. First off, I want to just make it clear that I'll stay as long as I can, but I do have a hard stop at around 7:30 that I know the
We
chairs
really appreciate your time. Really.
are aware of. So I will try and get in as much as quickly as possible. So I'll talk like a New Yorker, if that's all right with everyone else in the room. So right there, we have two, all of this is considered part of our BN yard. When you asked a starting question, how do we decide where we have things? Well, Robert, I think you have to go back about 150 years when you're talking about where things were decided to be put when you're talking about railroad infrastructure. When you're dealing with a railroad, things are where the tracks are. Unfortunately, that is something that we have to live with. And I think something as environmental enthusiasts that, trains are one of our cleanest and greenest ways to get people around, as everyone on this call is well aware. Thousands of Bronxites use Metro North service every day. It's actually been the only place where service has been growing throughout the past 3 years during the pandemic. We have seen at all of our South Bronx stations growth, not shrinking, in ridership since pre-pandemic. We've seen a growth of thousands of people actually at the Fordham station and stations south and north of there. So we're actually very proud of what we're seeing in the Bronx and the ability to help people get into Manhattan and get people off the roads and help provide a green solutions as part of the MTA and as helping prevent people from driving through the Bronx. Because as you know, if people had to come from Westchester, Dutchess, Putnam, Rockland, and the rest of our service area in Connecticut, without the train, the option is driving. So with that, we're very proud of what we do to help make sure that the Bronx isn't having more people driving through it on a daily basis. And that's one of the things that we do when we talk about trying to get people back on the train, is making sure that people are using cleaner ways to get in. Back to this yard particular. So just going from that, again, we do have our set footprint. We don't really have much choice in where we can have our footprint, as we kind of are constrained by the footprint that we've been left with for since these railroads started to come into existence. We are only 40 years old. We're very happy to be celebrating our 40th anniversary, but we've inherited all of our tracks. So with that, a lot of the where are things rely on some of that, and we can't put a yard in New Jersey because we're not in New Jersey, and you can't get things across. So just on that.
Time,
yep, I'm trying to go as quickly as possible, but I do want to at least talk about answer some of those questions. So here we have yard space that we use that has actually been in use for the past 10 years as over 10 years as a trash transfer facility. During the construction, you had talked about Long Island Railroad. That is a mega project that had been going on for a long time. Actually, during the construction of Grand Central Madison East Side Access, this is actually the spot where construction debris was coming out. The fact that you haven't noticed anything up until recently, we actually will take as a point of pride, because we try and make sure that when we're having an impact, we're not having an impact, that our impacts are as invisible as possible, that our yards are as invisible as possible. So with that, for the past 10 years, this is our construction material went in through Madison Yard and has come out through BN Yard. So this is the spot where that has come out. This is also the spot where our individual or consumer trash for Grand Central and Grand Central Madison going forward has Grand Central in the past for the past 10 years, and Grand Central Madison going forward will additionally come out. It comes in on container cars. It basically looks like a dumpster that you would see on a train car, and those can hold up to 5 cars. There can be up to 1 a day. That comes out through this facility, and that's what the transfers that are happening there. There is no plan whatsoever to expand or build any new infrastructure at this yard. It is, I can show you pictures. I mean, at this point, it's a primarily dirt and tracks, but it's a spot where we need dirt and tracks so we can have things where we're having a transfer point. So that's what's going on at this yard in general. I've heard rumors of people talking that we're building a trash transfer facility. No, it's a spot where trains can meet trucks is what it comes down to. There's been questions about what's going on, but so during the construction of East Side Access of Grand Central Madison from 225th to 230th, as you know, MTA is our giant parent organization. There are multiple different subgroups within that have different responsibilities. One of them is the operation of the railroad, which falls on Metro North. Another is Construction and Development Corporation, which handles the construction and development. The tracks, there are a series of switching tracks between 225th and 230th that we use for storage and for train switching. Being able to move trains from track to track and realign what cars are attached to each other is something that we need space to do. You can only do that in places where there are tracks and where there are switches. That happens to be a small switching yard that we have that we will be planning on using more for switching as we continue to go forward to help realign cars and for storage. When we have projects that help benefit the railroad and help make sure that things aren't disrupted, one of the most important thing is making sure we can have the appropriate equipment, one, off of our main lines, so we're not storing equipment on the main line so trains can continue to pass, and 2, so that it's close so we can get in and get out and prevent disruptions as much as possible. So that is an area that was used during the construction of Madison for the storage of equipment, and we're planning on using it as well for the storage of some of our equipment as yard tracks going forward to help make sure that we can have the equipment that we need, be it a crane on a train, be it a ties or rail tie replacement. All of these vehicles, they go out on tracks when we are able to have the lines closed down, but in order to get them there quicker, we like to be able to have yards and yard space throughout our service area, so we're doing as little disruption as possible. So that's our plans for these tracks that are now coming back to us. They'll be used primarily for storage and for switching, so we can have access and prevent longer shutdowns and keep our service area running as well as possible. So that's just the general overview of what we're doing there and our plans for the future. And as I said, it's not something that we've had any complaints about in the past, but I think there's been a little more questions about it going forward, especially since CNX did give over the rails that they were not using anymore to the city after that sale went through. There's been some more questions about these tracks.
Of course. Well, Andrew, thank you. It's been very thorough. Just a note about there's a difference between things being unobtrusive and things not being public. So this kind of usage history is really important because this is a neighborhood. I just have to stress. So I have a question from Karen Argenti, who's a community member of the Environment and Sanitation Committee. Go ahead, Karen. You have to unmute, Karen.
Yeah, no, I think Dart has some pictures that he'd like to show. Can we get some pictures up there? Can we get, can Dart share the screen, Camelia?
Sure. Just.
Dart, do you have the
let me
pictures
also-
available?
Yes, yes, I do.
And I also have pictures from 2014, but like, let's look at what Dart's pictures say. Let's go to the photo.
So,
Let's see what,
yeah, you have to enable me. Here we go.
Mark, I can see it. Yes, just let me
I got it.
acknowledge the presence of Assembly Member Dinovic. Welcome, sir. We are in the middle of a conversation with Mentor North Government and Community Relations Representative, Mr. Andrew Buda.
Thanks,
Okay,
Assemblyman.
so
Good to see you.
go ahead, Dart.
So this is a photograph of the tracks between 225th Street and 230th Street. Below 225th Street, there are two tunnels under 230th Street. One has nothing in it, and it leads to a piece of land that I believe belongs to the Target development, but I don't know. I'm Dart Westfall. I live on Palisade Avenue in Community Board 8. I've lived in Community Board 8 since 1987. And to the north of 230th Street, this is what the track looks like. So I'm a little confused about the idea that it's being used for switching or anything else.
To the
And
north of
I think,
230th Street, we do not own the tracks.
I'm sorry,
We do not own the tracks north of 230th Street.
this is between 225th Street and 230th Street. This would be about 227th Street.
Where would this?
This is
photo
what the track looks like in the area we're concerned about. So the idea that you're using,
a few weeks ago, not,
this is February. I
Yeah.
took this picture in February from the storage yard in between those two blocks. And that's what the track looks like. So I understand that you need to do things in the, supposedly you need to do things in the yard that you're in, but you've got a 70-acre yard down at the Hybrid Yards, which used to be vacant until East Side Access started. So, I mean, it just doesn't ring true. You know, you've got 70 acres that you put a car wash in on one of our Bronx's better waterfront parcels. That could have been used for all kinds of stuff, and we had to get out of the way so people in Long Island don't have to take the subway. And now you're telling us you need this other thing where we want a greenway, and there's obviously nothing going on there. So there ends my report.
can you show the
Alright.
picture of the chain underneath the overpass? Dart, like going through the overpass?
Sure. Let me stop sharing.
I'm sorry.
Andrew, if you would like to show pictures, you mentioned that you had some, please feel free. Just so we understand the study area we're looking at. Did you want to do that, Andrew?
Hold on one moment, I can show. This should enable to share. So this is the area in question. This is the aerial shot from 220th to 230th. Is this where you're talking about the photos being taken
Yes.
from? Because I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
The area with all the trees in it.
The northernmost part of the yard.
Well, it's the block between 225th Street and 230th Street. I mean, once you get down to 230th Street, there's obviously activity going on there. But, there's rust all over those tracks. You can see it from the aerial view.
So Andrew,
There's
could you
nothing-
describe the MTA MNR plans for these tracks?
As I've mentioned, this was going to be an area where we use for switching and that we use for storage. We
Was or
We
is?
have operational use for this area and we have no intention of turning over this area to the city.
Jeff is on the call.
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm sorry I missed the beginning. We met a few weeks ago, so we
Yes.
discussed this, and I've never honestly I feel the same way I did then, and that is that We just spent, I don't know how much did it cost to give East Side access to Long Island? $1 billion, $2 billion, whatever it was a lot of money.
Plenty.
And it was a lot of money. And
About 11, I believe.
they whined when the governor wanted to raise the MTA tax by a little bit just to pay for everything that needs to get done. And no one spent $2 billion on the Bronx. What we're getting on the Bronx is Long Island's garbage. I mean, to me, it's that simple. And I can't believe there's not a way that can be figured out to avoid that and to do the simple, to do the greenway, you know, other areas. And I don't like to compare ourselves to other areas, but you know, somebody comes up with an idea in Manhattan and suddenly the High Line comes into existence. I think what advocates, activists are trying to do in our area is complete a greenway for the people of the Bronx, probably the county that has the highest asthma rate and so on. So there's got to be a way. You have a lot of smart people working for Metro North and the MTA. You got to figure it out.
And if there's easements that we can provide up and down the Harlem River, we're happy to work with them. We're happy to work on the flyover, which is something that we've talked about many times.
Andrew.
We're happy to work with the New York City DOT, who has not yet actually reached out to us formally and asking about this land in any way, shape, or form. They actually very much yesterday at their first kickoff meeting about this greenway, we're trying to figure out ways to talk about existing routes that they have control over in order to try and get the greenway going as fast as possible, because they want to start repainting roads as early as next year in hopes of trying to get a bike path going that is a route.
So Andrew, we take it from
just also Assemblyman, I want to make sure that you are clear on this. We are not building a garbage facility at this location.
Okay.
There is a transfer spot that has been occurring for the past decade that we've received zero complaints from the community about.
And Andrew, where is that? We're trying to figure out the transfer site. Is that south of 225th?
Correct.
Okay.
We're talking about 200, between 225th Street and 230th Street.
Okay.
Correct.
So,
And that is not a
well,
transfer station.
You seem to be talking about both at the same time, and I just want to make sure that there's some clarity on this because the Assemblyman joined late.
This is Community Board 8, and the only area that's in Community Board 8 that we're talking about is from 230th to 225th Street. We'd be happy to talk to you about the other place south of 225th Street and High Bridge at another time, but this is only in.
Yeah, we just, and the reason why we'd like to clarify is because it sounds like it's multi-purpose, right? And if it's multi-purpose, perhaps some of those things can be parceled away, and others, you know, may be more core to what you need. Because it is,
throw the parks
it is
under the bus,
just
but
an
like
absolutely
they weren't able to
critical,
maintain.
it is just an absolutely critical piece of the Harlem River dream and project that now has hundreds of millions of federal and city dollars being placed into. We would like to know that the state is cognizant and your authority is cognizant of the massive investment in federal and city funds in a greenway and in a waterfront greenway. We just would like you to know that. I'm going to recognize Bob Bender, who is new to the meeting, and then Dart, and I also want to invite Chris Calhoun to speak up, who is a community board member and resident of Marble Hill Houses. Go ahead, Bob Bender.
Thank you, Bob. Andrew, nice to see you again. I was on that Zoom that we had a few weeks ago with the Assemblyman and Chauncey. And I want to pick up on something that Dart said. I commute on Metro North on the Hudson line, and down at High Bridge, you have multiple tracks. And that's where your cleaning facility is, as you know. You have multiple tracks, whether it's on my commute into Grand Central in the morning or on the way out in the evening. I almost never see trains on those tracks, despite that the fact that there are several of them there. And I don't understand why that could not be your garbage transfer point. Those tracks seem to be empty virtually all the time that I pass by in the morning or in the evening. that's number one. Number two, I want to make the point that we have been trying for years to get a Hudson River Greenway, and we have a feasibility study that shows how it can be done from Spuyten Duyvil north into Yonkers. The area we're talking about here, outside between 225th and 230th, that we hope will lead into Van Cortlandt Park, is about 1.5 miles from Spuyten Duyvil. We're talking about one continuous Bronx Greenway that would run from Randall's Island through the South Bronx and eventually connect up to Spuyten Duyvil and up the Hudson River. This is something that would provide riverfront access for people of the Bronx, and it would be unthinkable for this thing to be stalled because of the problem of a waste transfer station at the location that we're talking about right now. So I urge you to reconsider the High Bridge area or the waste transfer station. There certainly have to be alternatives.
It sounds
what
like you're
talking
asking
about.
not only for these tracks, but the waste transfer facility to be removed, which is in a different yard, and the closing of that yard. Is that also what you're asking for?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of what you said, Andrew.
As it's been made clear, Karen made clear, we're talking about two spots, the yard as well as the tracks, which are also part of the yard. The yard, but south of 225th and the yard north of 225th. South of 225th, which has been in Metro North control for the past over a decade, is where the transfer facility is and has been for, again, over a decade. And that sounds like something that you want removed, in addition to also wanting control of the yard space between 225th and 230th, which has just come back to ours, so we're using for storage and switching. Is that what you're asking for at the moment?
We are here to talk about 230th to 225th. And we are saying that because it is not in current use, you consider relocating some of these non-essential services elsewhere in consideration of the massive project that's going on.
We've not been approached by the city in regards to this matter for them to ask for these tracks. If the city comes to us, we can consider we consider everything that is brought to us.
Yeah.
If it's not something that is feasible based on our operational needs, we can present alternatives, which we have in many of these greenway situations. We help work with anyone who is coming to us with these projects, help make sure that we can give them as much as we possibly can that still meets our operational needs. We have a railroad that we need to continue to run. And our operational needs are always going to be our priority, and making sure that the safety needs of those on our railroad are also accounted. Right. When you're dealing with yard space, you're dealing with a space that you can get things in and out of the entirety of the railroad system, which when you think about it, that's something that needs to be a secure and safe environment. We need to make sure people are not safe from wandering into our yards. We have to make sure that people aren't bringing things into our yards that do not belong there. So those are all considerations that we make and all things that we work towards. And we are able to have parks adjacent to our yard space in a lot of different areas as well. We've worked with coming up with plans to have greenways up and down the Hudson and along many of our rails and right of ways. So we're happy to continue to work with anyone. But again, that is what we can do. We can, when agencies come to us, when someone comes to us, we can work with them. We can work through presenting solutions, coming up with ideas. But we are not abandoning our yard or our territory at this time.
No one's asking you. We're just happy that you'd like to be at the table. Like we said, this is a massive interagency effort that's going on. The mayor of the city of New York is committed to it. We're going to make sure that everyone talks to you, and we really thank you for your time and your willingness to talk about easements and to talk about conversations with the agencies in question. We will work through that process and make sure that MTA can do for this area what you've done up and down the Hudson River. We're keenly aware and very happy with the success of the Empire State Trail. So Andrew, unless you want to stay on, I want to thank you for your time. And also I want to thank Assemblyman Dinovitz for his support of the Putnam Greenway and the potential continuation of the Putnam Greenway. Chair Laura Falter, do you want to say, I see Chauncey.
This hand, yeah, right.
Welcome, Andrew, and look forward to future conversations. We will learn from each other.
Yes, I'm here as a resource. I'm always happy to have a conversation. Before I run, I will drop my contact information in the chat.
We
But
don't have a chat, but
oh, you don't have a chat function, so but
Andrew,
please,
you do a tough job. I just want to give Chauncey, or you may have heard of Chauncey Young. So Chauncey, have the last word.
then I really do.
You. Andrew, just wanted to remind, oh, he dropped off. Of course, Andrew, there you are.
No,
Good. You're
I'm
still
here.
there.
I'm just
glad.
packing up.
I didn't see
I'm
you.
here. I'm listening. I'm just packing up.
Andrew, I just wanted to follow up, about your commitment for us to do the tour of the property. I think it's so important when we're looking at this as a possibility, to do that tour of the facility so we could see what's potential. I know you committed to that in a email with the assembly member and several of the folks here on this in this email chain. So I think it would be great to set up that meeting. And I know, that we would like to look at any possibilities of, having the Greenway happen and having that connector happen without impacting the Metro North facility. So that's I wanted to bring up and, look forward to, future conversations and that tour. We're in the meeting with the DOT right now, planning
so
the Greenway. So we'll
supposed to get
bring
back
that
there.
back to them too.
Get
Thank
back
you.
there and talk about Depot Place. All right.
It was a
I'm
pleasure, and I
gonna
thank
surrender-
you. And I apologize that I do have to run.
Of course. Thanks
Have
for your
a
time.
great
Andrew.
day, and I'm sure we will continue these conversations.
Come on.
Thank
Okay.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right,
Take care.
I'm going to
We
surrender
appreciate
the meeting back to Camelia. Take it away, Chair.
Yes, thank you so much, Robert, and thank you to everyone that contributed. Let me just add, I was actually in the same Zoom on the Harlem River yesterday during the full board meeting, and I was actually in the same kind of room like they put us with Andrew, and I just want to put it out there, the fact that he said that they were not yet approached by DOT correlates very well with what I heard directly from several DOT officials in that room that said, oh, we will not even bother approaching MTA. So I think that as much as we put pressure on MTA to be collaborative, we have to put the same amount of pressure on DOT to look at this project as a visionary project, as an example of interagency cooperation, not as an example of let's try to find a route against it, instead of let's try to connect.
Camelia, Camelia, that's really one thing, but I have to tell you, the deal was made by the Parks Department when they did the ULURP on the Putnam Trail, the CSX property. And they made an agreement with the MTA, and everybody agreed to it, that when they finished in 2013, that they were going to turn it over so that we could walk on that pathway. And they reneged on that. We don't know who made that deal, but it's in the City Planning Commission report of that ULURP.
I hear you, Karen.
we
Let's
have-
please document all these different pieces, because there are different agencies, and for the Harlem River, the responsibility was handed to DOT all of a sudden. And I do not believe they have the experience of this complexity. Robert, yes, please, and Chauncey, but then I want to move on to the next topic, please.
Yeah, I would just like to say that thank you, Camelia, for giving me the chance to host Andrew. I think we learned a lot. We learned about what the city hasn't done, and we learned about the actual use of this property. And in my opinion, none of that should be considered permanent and essential. It sounds like a nice luxury to have, but none of it sounds absolutely essential for that being there. And I think this is a territory for easements. I do.
So one mention, just in our last 48 seconds, the Metro North government representative says DOT is not even asking us about 225th Street to 230th Street.
Exactly.
So we need you all to push Metro North, just
Exactly.
like we are and the community board is and the elected officials are, that we want this access point to happen because they're saying DOT is not even asking us about 225th to 230th Street. We need you all to include that in your push with with Metro North, that we want this to happen because they feel like they're getting off scot-free and DOT is not holding them accountable, even though we have Assembly Member Dinowitz in this meeting right now, you know, saying we need this connection to happen. So just putting that in our little cap for.
I
we
think
are
he's
going
in
to,
another meeting. We should mute.
we are going to craft.
Oh, sorry,
a-
I was saying that to DOT exactly what I
Okay.
was told. I
Yeah,
just
Chelsea,
pushed
who
them.
was that for? Who,
Going to,
That was pushing the DOT reps in my breakout group that that's what I heard my community board 8 reps and I turned around and I said,
too much.
we need you all to push. And
Yeah.
they heard it and they put in their notes.
So in light of this, Camelia, I would like to embargo the draft of the resolution I prepared for today in order to build it around advocacy of city agencies, both DPR and DOT, to fully engage MTA for the purpose of the ongoing Harlem River Greenway planning right now, okay? But I will come back. Unless you want to do that right now.
A letter might work. You know, you don't need a resolution.
Okay, Laura,
No,
you
no,
want a
no.
letter?
Bob?
No, I'm just saying a letter
Yeah,
might be
go ahead, Camille.
useful.
You-
It doesn't have to go through the whole board and it's quick.
right.
If your committee decides
Yes.
on trying to advocate on, because it seems weird that these two sister agencies, there's no
Yeah, never
communication.
contact them.
Are not exactly stepsister agencies, but.
Or just, you
Yes,
know,
thank
wait
you,
and get
Laura.
more.
A letter would be appreciated. A letter would be appreciated. I thank you all.
Good.
I'm begging you, allow me to move forward with the agenda.
We're done.
If we have
Go ahead.
extra time at the end, we may come back to this and strategize and decide if we want to show a draft or not right now. I'm thanking in advance Olivia Georgia for patience. You were supposed to speak first, to be our first guest speaker, but then the schedule of the Metro North representative sort of changed, so apologies and thank you, Olivia. We do have a bunch of things, and I told you probably like 5 times to try to be brief, so thank you in advance for the understanding. You are a co-host. If you have a PowerPoint, feel free to go ahead and share, or if not, you're welcome to address the committee.
Oops, oops, oops. Okay, slideshow. There we go. Can you see that? And can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Was
You-
up for a moment.
It says Zoom now. It's a different window.
You're in a different window.
It's a different window.
Yeah, you're sharing your wrong window. You need to go out and to reselect.
Okay.
Let me just say, this is Olivia Georgia. She's the executive director for Cal City as Living Laboratory. It's a nonprofit organization doing all kinds of arts-related
Did that work?
activations around environmental projects. Yes.
There you go.
We are on.
Very great. Well, it's really an honor to be here this evening. Many of you know us, City is Living Laboratory, and I would say several of you might not know us, but there are members of our advisory committee here, Bob Fanuzzi and Christina Taylor, and great people that we've worked with over the years, Stephanie and Dart. So I want to, express our great thanks for all of the opportunities we had to understand some of the environmental issues and try to help advancing some of the same agendas that you all are really intensely advocating for. And it was very, very interesting to have a window into the issue about the tracks that are in contention here. So obviously that's something that we hope you'll be successful on. So I wanted to just tell you about 4 projects that are recent, actually 5 recent projects, and just to share them with you. And then if there's a moment for conversation and recommendations, I would love that. If not, please email me and share your thoughts in a future correspondence. So last year, we did a sort of the third in a series of performative, contemplative works by Nicholas Estevez. He's a very beloved Bronx artist, and he's done a series of walking meditations in partnership with John Butler. I'm sure you all know John. He's also done an audio tour that is still available throughout a section of Van Cortlandt Park. And at some point, we might want to turn some of his work into kind of a curriculum for teachers and others to use. And he did just a beautiful 4-hour workshop last May. This is the Tibbetts Estuary Tapestry installed at the Van Cortlandt House Museum. Was opened in December, and it just closed a couple of days ago. And this evening, and the opening is going on right now, it's being presented at the Taipei Cultural Center, invited by the Human Impacts Institute, which is having their inaugural exhibition and award ceremonies this evening. So this project, let's get a little bit better view from here, was conceived by Matthew Lopez Jensen. Matthew lives in Norwood, and he partnered up with a textile artist, Ana de la Cueva, and they came up with a really intricate and very, very elaborate process to crowdsource this quilt. It was embroidered by approximately 100 different volunteers, many from the Northwest Bronx, but from other places as well. And this is a vision for people to contribute to an idea of greening Broadway, a complement to the greening and daylighting of Tibbetts Brook. And it's a fantasy, but it's also something that may help people understand better the benefits of green roofs and other places in the urban environment that would benefit from capturing rain and runoff. And you can see some of the really beautiful details in this slide. This is an in-process workshop that is being conducted by Manuel Acevedo. Manuel lives just south of Van Cortlandt Park. He's a conceptual artist and photographer, and he's been working with young people first at the Kingsbridge Heights Community Center and now at Ampark School. And he's been inviting the kids to learn about the park and Tibbetts Brook, and to do drawings of what they would like to see happen with the greenway, the new greenway, so their ideas. And not so much that these would become a reality per se, but it's a way of them investing or sort of projecting their own lives into this amazing sort of opportunity to not only know about the creation of a new park that is going to improve their neighborhood, but also understand its environmental benefits. And so part of that is that he'll be working with Jessica Wilson and some of her students. I'm sure you all know that she's an environmental engineer, teaches at Manhattan College. And so that'll be happening this spring. And this was a scene from the workshop that he did at Kingsbridge Heights last summer. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to go back there with some of the results of our projects. So this is a work by Miguel Acevedo. I'm sorry, Miguel Briselli, and he was very interested in doing a performative work that was documented. Bob, did you want to say something? You're muted.
You're muted.
When you're done.
Oh, okay, fine. So Miguel invited a number of people to do a improvisational performance that evokes the braiding together of the streams that make up the course of Tibbetts Brook, and as a metaphor to express the weaving together of the many different types of peoples that populate the Tibbetts Wood watershed. And so we're hoping to have a photography and video exhibition of this work. We're working on the particular venues right now. And finally, this is a project by Kamala Shankaram. Kamala is a resident of Riverdale, and she's a very, very well-known composer and conceptual artist as well. And she invited a number of groups, students from Manhattan College and other local residents to take a series of, or one of the series of workshops that she presented. And the workshops were both an opportunity to contribute to this work, but also a way of becoming more aware of how sound informs our environment. And it was a really interesting process. I would play the audio for you, but it doesn't come through in Zoom. Zoom doesn't have that capacity. But the augmented reality experience that she's going to be completing soon begins with a Lenape song that she recorded by Nicole Pecore. And so it's a beautiful evocation of the original settlers, or the indigenous peoples that lived in the area. And hopefully, no, stop. Okay. And this is the course that this augmented reality experience will follow. It will hopefully start at the outflow of Tibbetts into the sewer system and trace the in a gross way, or sort of an averaging way, the original course of Tibbetts Brook down to 230th Street. And I have to reach out or shout out to Dart Westfall, who was very generous with his time and consulting with Kamala on this piece, which we have not heard. We don't know what it's going to be, but we won't be able to actually experience it at all until it's active. I mean, the app that is responsible for it is in process, but I can guarantee you that it'll be a beautiful evocation of the history of Tibbetts Brook. So, and this is just sort of showing you what the interface will look like, which is pretty bland compared to what the music, I'm sure, is going to be like. So, so we just wanted to have a chance to show these pieces in progress, and pieces that we want to bring people to, and any recommendations, any thoughts you might have on where we might present this work on, and who might be interested in it. We're right now, we're hoping to bring the tapestry back to Riverdale Senior Services, and I'll be offering some workshops, and hope to really build on these really interesting and inviting pieces to really help people understand the great value of the greening and these ideas for better environment in this particular neighborhood. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And now I guess Robert, it's your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. If you'll be so kind and stop sharing
Sure.
your screen and give me the cohorts back, or whatever it's called. Thank you. First of all, again, it's so wonderful to see sort of different groups of our population interacting with the area, and through a different lens that we are normally looking at. We are looking at, water overflows and flooding and CSO and all these things, but people really have different, people need different lenses, and seeing those kids looking at the lake and just imagining things is very inspiring. And thank you again. I would invite you to share the presentation with us so that I can append it to the minutes of the meeting. And the only hand I'm seeing is Bob Fanozzi. Please go ahead, Bob. Oh, unmute.
I feel like a progressive commercial. Okay. Olivia, I wanted to thank you for showing, and I wanted to, but focus on one, when you said that the Am Park, we love Am Park, and we want to see young people become young environmentalists, and especially get engaged in this once in a lifetime project. Were you inspired? Does the instructor have any idea about how he would like to get the kids involved in the daylighting corridor, so to speak? Have you seen anything that has inspired you?
Well, two ways. First, he wants to do a series of drawing workshops. He's already started that. So there'll be visual illustrations of what the children's imaginations have brought to the surface. So and they will be, fanciful kinds of drawings. They're not necessarily about, like how a bench is going to fit in somewhere.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not
It's not
conceptual
about
designs.
that.
Yeah,
It's about them having an opportunity to express themselves and project their own interests and fantasies into this amazing place. And who knows, maybe someone will come up with an interesting idea that could be could influence the ultimate design. But that's not what the point is. Really, it's to give them an opportunity to own the Greenway in their own personal ways. So, and then the other thing that we don't know if this is going to happen, but he's been very inspired by Paul Mankiewicz and the green living walls. And I know Karen has been doing amazing work with Paul on trying to advance that. And so he has an idea of how to maybe work with Paul to do kind of individual sort of bricks or units that could illustrate how a living wall works, and that each child or each student could have a little piece of it, and maybe they could all come together to make a demonstration project. So that's something that we haven't quite worked out yet, but I think it's a great idea, and he's been quite captivated by Paul's sense of possibility. Enthusiasm.
fantastic. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Olivia. Let's sort of dream to the day when we will have like a grand opening of Tibet's daylighted park, and then there will be some art pieces shown there of all the projects that you've been helping to be developed by all these amazing artists. One more time, thank you. Please send me the presentation so that we make it available. And once again, we really appreciate the patience of.
Thank you. No, I so appreciate being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of the meeting. So
Thank you so much.
Take care.
To my technical stuff. Okay, good.
Bye.
We are doing quite good in time. We are halfway through, but now the real work starts, because I will start opening documents. Particularly, I'm moving to my agenda item number 6, budget priorities. If you remember, sorry.
The mic is right here, so you don't have to.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
I know you're talking over there. It's like right here.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you.
I didn't think I could make it through all the budget priorities.
Okay. So I got teased about how loud I'm speaking. I'm repeating for those that were not here in the beginning. We are kind of the first to test here. Much better. Okay.
Yeah.
We are testing.
Microphone is working
You guys
much
are.
better too.
You guys are hearing, right? Okay, I'm screaming less. We are testing a new system of audio, mic plus speakers in the office, where we don't have to scream at the TV anymore. I connected through actually the phone line, so we have like a little thing going on, but I hope you can hear us. So dear friends, here are our budget priorities discussed last month. I made the font very small because all we need to do is deal with the columns here in the left. We have 4 budget requests in the capital section, and we have, I believe, 13 in the expense section. David wants us to submit a maximum of 5 each. Is this what you said?
No. I don't have a say in the matter. All I have said is that we have been told in years gone by that we should not, as a community board, not as a committee, but as a community board of 10 committees, not submit more than about 25 or 30 capital requests and 25 or 30 expense requests, which suggests that individual committees should not submit more than 5. However, I have no say in that matter.
5 per category or 5 in total?
You have 5 capital, 5 expense.
I would say though, like, the Parks Committee, for example, is almost entirely capital and very little expense. Environment and Sanitation is very little capital and almost entirely expense. So there's also a little bit of a trade-off there. Like, we're gonna submit 10 capital, but just 5 expense, because we don't really have much. And then we'll all discuss it at exec.
Okay, I hear Robert, yeah.
2 things.
Yeah.
One,
second, Robert.
the other part of the 30/30 is, we've also been told in years gone by that the borough president's office doesn't pay attention to anything after 5. So think about your top 1 or 2 very, very seriously, and the others are more informative about direction, sentiment, whatnot. But in terms of this, if I can suggest, make the FY '25 left column very skinny, because all you really need is that 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then narrow the main body quite a bit so that people can see all the words. They're all blocked off with the.
Oh, I'm sorry. One second. I made the font of the title of each priority bigger. Do you guys see well? I hope so. We don't go into wording anymore, which is what we did last month. All I need right now from this meeting is if this 1, 2, 3, 4 is like this, or if you, that's all I want. We are not discussing content anymore, except for this little one, number 4 here. Bofanuti, please proceed. I'm only seeing your hand, please. Only committee members, please, on this conversation.
Thank you. On the subject of editing and down, the purpose of the budget priorities is to give the itemized requests for the purpose of the district manager and the chair to issue our district needs statements. So although we may not forward all of these to the budget, it's important for the purpose of the budget. It's really important that we be thorough for the purpose of a complete district needs statement. We just need to incorporate what we do here to that essential goal of the community board, as important as the budget itself. Thanks.
I'm agreeing with this approach, Robert. Thank you. Let me just clear this edit thing, because we had a little exchange on this, Robert. On this, what is currently number 4, with DSNY, that garage rehabilitation situation. I asked the office twice to reach out. They didn't get any feedback. I don't know if Steve Caruso is no longer there or what happened, but do you want to keep this? What do you think about it? Or shall we just keep it there just in case? Rehabilitate and
I would just like to say that you could keep it and you could always get rid of it, because this is not going to be voted on until September.
Okay, then please help me confirm if this is the order or if you want something moved up or down between 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure.
Order.
Okay, Deb likes this order. Bofanuzi?
I like it.
Okay, Karen?
Yeah, I agree.
It's fine.
Sponsor?
Yeah,
Fine,
it's
okay,
fine.
we are so.
What about
Excellent, I
Rashida? Rashida, ask
Rashida, what do you
Rashida.
think?
Okay.
And she more windows. Rashida, are you good?
Yeah.
I am.
Yes, thank you so much. And now we are moving to, yes.
The Steve Caruso thing.
No, don't worry, I will get.
It'll be fixed by the time it gets to me?
No, I will edit and clear and it will get to you. Don't worry. We are moving to expense where we have a grand total of 13. I was looking at some of these and I was wondering if we could join by way of wording it in a more comprehensive way.
Yeah, I
just
agree.
wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But number
For
1 and
example,
7
these
could,
two.
yeah,
Yeah,
and number
exactly.
1 and 7 could go,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So shall I simply move the text 7 to 1 and then word it And like, for example, 4 and 5 together, would you like me to do this, or? No, okay.
Well, I think the Jerome Park Reservoir sanitation can go down lower, but it's very different than the public access project study.
That's correct.
So, but it's the cleaning up around the reservoir has been better. We didn't want to remove it from the list for fear that it would get bad again, but it could certainly go at the bottom, you know? We could deprioritize it and put other things
No,
up. And I
Deb-
do agree with combining smart compost and universal curbside organics.
But Deb, the whole thing at Jerome Park Sanitation is really all DEP.
Yeah.
So it's not a different area.
No, but the first thing is a study for public access.
Yeah, which should remain priority number 1, my personal.
It doesn't say
view,
a
by the
study,
way.
it says an updated plan. Whatever that means.
That's
Do
correct.
we want it to say study?
No.
Does that matter?
No, what I think it should be is, I think the whole thing about taking care of Jerome Park Reservoir, both in and outside the fence, is something that they have to expend funds on. And I don't know why you put separate. I mean, it doesn't make it sense to put it separate. It should be the
Yeah,
same.
you're saying, so say, develop and implement an updated plan with community stakeholders to expand regular ongoing public access and appropriate litter pickup,
Yeah,
something like this.
So then
At
we
the
can
Jerome
remove
Park
the-
Reservoir.
because they don't do it as a regular thing. So right now, we want them to do it as maintenance for the, like, taking care of the facility. It's facility utility or something.
But we want public access, which is just like a whole other can of worms. That's like what the main purpose of the first one is, but it's like public access and
It's
yeah.
both,
Guys,
it's really,
again, yeah.
And
Again, the question on the table is if we can join 1 and 7. 1 is public access to Jerome Park DEP. 7 is sanitation of Jerome Park DEP.
Yeah.
So this is the question.
I feel like it's not worth joining them, I guess. I've talked
You
myself
would
out of it.
rather remove this or move it to the back? Is
I would
this
rather
what you
move it
said?
to the bottom, yeah.
Yeah. Robert Fanuzzi?
I was trying to join them. I lost track. Are we joining them or not joining them?
yeah, I would prefer to join them.
Yeah, I have a,
Karen, did you say yes or no?
Rashida, what do you think?
my question is with public access, I'm just concerned that public access will increase the litter, so I don't, maybe I'm wrong, so maybe join them because you can have,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, good. Excellent point, actually.
So, yeah.
Um,
And so, you could say, develop an updated plan with communities to expand regular access, including appropriate litter and maintenance for foot traffic. How about that?
How about just leaving the text of both? Access and increased sanitation. Fair enough?
Right.
Correct?
Okay. Thank you, Rashida.
I mean, if you want to reword, I'm listening, Robert, if you want to reword.
No, I think that to link them is what, like Rashida says, you're actually bringing foot traffic. So expand regular ongoing, including additional resources for appropriate litter pickup.
It seems like the headline should be Jerome Park Reservoir access, and then within it, develop and implement an updated plan with community stakeholders to do all the public access stuff and
Truthfully,
finance
it's something like a
appropriate,
management plan. It's like a management plan. It's a management plan of access and sanitation and, managing the inside and the outside. It's a management plan. It's a
Yeah.
company.
But there's a lot of scope creep happening with that, though, because really what, as Rashida's saying, is increasing better sanitation if we increase public access
Correct.
because of litter,
Yeah.
not like, make a.
Deb, are you comfortable with what the Rashida plan? Because I think I like that.
I like Rashida's plan, yeah, which
Yeah.
doesn't have increased sanitation in the main thing, but has increased sanitation because of public access.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it okay?
That's good.
Reservoir.
Okay, there's the original text in terms of content, but leave it with public access, which would imply management of the public access, sanitation included. Okay, good. So we cut one. Any other joining things? We were saying that we could join, what did we say? Smart compost bins and curbside organics. What do you think?
I think there's separate lines in sanitation.
Okay.
Yep. Leave that one alone. Leave those
How
separate.
about curbside organics and compost? Joining.
Curbside organic. No, completely
I
different
see, look
operation.
what they did. You have to put the compost bins together with the compost project.
That's, yeah, oh, compost with compost, all right. We can do the same, we can do like and.
Is that the same?
It's like
They have a new
No,
name
no,
for
no,
it, Karen.
the same like we did to the previous one.
included
Okay.
in compost.
I don't even think they're calling it compost project anymore, though.
So
And I don't think they're giving out, I don't think they're giving out the bins either. I think they stopped giving out bins.
So, you see where you've got smart compost bins?
Yes.
Delete smart compost bins, it's underlined in bold, and then make including expand smart compost bins.
Including and expanding, yeah.
Expand.
Including expand that.
Including expanding.
Right.
Okay, good, nice. All right. So this is done. We have 1, 2, 3. This becomes. Shall we attempt another? Hold on, let me count. We have 1, 2, 3. This is 4. This is 5. If you have any other idea what to cut, do speak.
$12 is good. 13. Oh boy, you've been
11.
chasing after that
We're at
forever.
11. Look, can I say something about this salt pile situation? Because I spent like 4 hours the past week right across from it. It's my children's favorite new park. I agree with the spirit of it, right? Relocate salt pile from a non-park location. Having said that, around the salt pile, there were at least 25 different large-scale vehicles, pickers, excavators, the actual trucks distributing the salt. There are 2 or 3 large buildings where probably the staff, whatever, for administrative reasons. So even though, again, I understand why we don't want salt in a park location, I bet there is a physical infrastructure need for all those vehicles and that pile of salt to be close to each other there, because they probably serve both our districts and other nearby districts. So I don't know how to say. I don't know if this is, again, I support the spirit of it, but I don't know if this is reasonable to leave it like this, even though it's number 11, but I just wanted to put it out there.
It seems to me like a capital project. Because moving it's gonna, you've got to get some other land somewhere and other utilities and things. I think also it's like the problem, and Karen can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest problems here is that I don't think it was ever properly alienated, that the parkland was simply kind of taken, and they put a bunch of salt there and a bunch of equipment there, and then they didn't, it's like they kind of need to either commit or get out, but this kind of mess is a mess. And the coverage of it is it's haphazard. And if they're going to commit, and that's where they're going to be, then they owe Van Cortlandt Park remediation, the same way that we got this pedestrian bridge thing happening on the other side. It's not really fair to say, DEP, you took all these acres for your filtration plant, but DSNY over here, they can have this whole upper corner for free.
Another thing that I also noticed is also used by DEP and DOT. So this used yeah, it's used kind of like a garage storing a variety of large equipment, and there's a pile of. Sure, but because it's a large space, there are two perfectly nice buildings, it's used, is what I'm saying.
But
It's not
that's
about
not-
just the salt pile.
But that's not, Christina wants to talk, but
Oh,
the
Christina, yes, Christina,
salt
please.
pile is not, there's two separate buildings over there. The salt pile is not the DOT.
Yeah, no, of course, Christina, could you please?
Yeah,
Elaborate. And
there's
tell
multiple
us-
things happening at that site. So there is a salt pile, which is DSNY. The buildings are actually not nice buildings. They might look nice from the outside, but they're not that great on the inside. Very little bit of the indoor space is used by Parks Department. Most of it is DOT. So I completely agree that if DSNY is going to be there, they should be paying mitigation fund money to Parks, but if we go after DSNY, we should also go after DOT because it's the same situation.
Yeah,
So,
Does that mean?
but
it's
we
not a
can't do
budget
that.
item?
We're not DOT.
Yeah.
Christina,
My
so
hand is
we
raised.
only have-
My hand is raised.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert, go ahead.
So this is not a budget issue. I propose and that we bring it to the Parks Committee to pursue these great ideas that Deb just raised.
Excellent,
And
can
we
I credit
take
that?
it off of the budget and we move on. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody okay with that? Rashida, you too? Karen?
Yes.
Pass it on
I'm
to them. Okay, great, so we are at 10. Do you want to
fine.
keep sort of doing this, or, I don't know? The other final thing I was thinking, it was commercial district clean streets, which is street cleaning with vacant lot
Yeah.
cleanup. Because listen, around Marble Hill, Kingsbridge, etc., this is a combined situation. I mean, there's commercial parts which of course they should clean more, but there are also vacant lot kind of pockets in between, so if.
There are
you think
different
we could
lines. There are different lines there are different lines in the sanitation department.
I see, so for this reason, you would, advise to leave them separate? Is this what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know, whatever you think.
Can you define where the vacant lots are? Is it on Broadway? Is it on whatever?
Can
I
we
feel like it may
define?
be, what's interesting about this one is that what I'm seeing a lot of, especially in Kingsbridge Heights,
Uh-huh.
is that developers come in, they knock down a house or a building, and then they leave it
For a while.
for a while,
Uh-huh.
and then you get the rats and the garbage and the stuff, and so that these things, they pop up all over the district right now, especially in residential areas, and I'm seeing actually over in Riverdale too.
Yeah, Riverdale too, correct, you're right,
Yeah.
yeah.
But how is that DSNY's problem?
Because they do have to come, they do come clean it if there's reports of rats
Oh.
and stuff, they'll do a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I think he's right, if it's private property,
Yeah.
it's not my problem.
Yeah.
Private
see how.
property. DSNY will not go into a private property, clean that, they will clean the outside of it maybe?
Well, what about the rat people? That's the
No,
health
private
department.
property, there's a
No,
fence.
they will, if you don't respond to, you make a rat complaint, if the property owner does not respond, then
Yeah,
they
we
will put
provide-
bait down on it and
That's
then.
a protracted process.
It is a protracted process, but they
And-
bill back the
that really
homeowner.
has nothing to do with DSNY.
That's not DSNY.
No, because
That's
what
health?
would happen in that circumstance is you get fined
Yeah.
and
Like a violation.
subpoenaed and summoned rather, and it'll take a while, and then they'll come in on a specific basis.
Yeah,
to
to
address
do
it.
that.
But what you're talking, what this sounds like is a generic, let's clean up all the empty lots, and I don't know where.
I agree with you. Because it's private property. Bob Panuzzi, please.
Yeah, the original formulation of this was for manual litter patrol, they called it, to deal with hard to find areas like step streets and stuff. I don't want to hear about DOT.
No,
making
look
stuff.
up, that's
But
number
that
5.
was, okay, it's there then. I don't really think, we need that then, number 7.
Okay, but then maybe we can join vacant lots.
No,
with
no,
many-
no, you need a number
Okay,
7.
no.
When you have a vacant lot and there's a lot of vacant lots, you need someone to go in and clean it and charge the
Agreed.
person who owns it. You need that.
Agreed.
It's a
For the
separate thing. It's a
property owner.
separate line. You don't put them together because they're two separate things.
But I don't know that DSNY is the one to tell anyone what to do on their own property.
Okay,
even if
but
it's
Yes,
non-built.
DSNY is the one that does it.
How about vacant lot
So,
monitoring?
one
Don't think
second,
so,
maybe
actually.
we can then say publicly owned vacant lot cleanups.
What if we say what if we say vacant lot inspections?
Yeah.
Because it's really about the summonsing,
Yeah,
right? And
Inspections and cleanups.
I don't know that
vacant-
they do this. I don't.
It's like enforcement. We're talking
I'm
about
sorry, yeah.
vacant
Robert?
lot enforcement.
I just don't know that they do that. I would just check with them, check with Steve or
Don't
whoever.
they write summons, Robert?
No,
Sanitation enforcement?
Enforcement, yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes, they have vacant lot cleanup. That's how they clean up all the lots in the South Bronx. But we have a particular problem over there by Giles and Sedgwick. And whenever there's a vacant lot, it takes a long time to do it. And it is not an enforcement issue because they ignore enforcement. That's the price of doing business. They leave it till it gets to be I lived across the street from a vacant lot. And every once in a while, we had to have it cleaned up. And it takes, it's not a big, they don't have a lot of money there, but you need that money there.
But I don't know. Robert, is your hand still up on this?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, I think, I hear Karen kind of arguing to just leave it as it was, vacant lot sanitation and cleanup. Karen, is this what you're saying? Yes, I hear, okay. I don't know, if nobody has done any objection there. The question remains, do we still attempt to cut this number or not?
I think it's fine.
10 is a good,
Well,
it's fine, okay.
I mean, we still need to make sure our top five are a top five.
Exactly, let's do that.
Using Bob's criteria, that's a valid approach, to make sure that we are reminded when we develop the district statement. So 10 is fine, but Deb is right that 5 and 5 are really where you want to focus your.
Okay, let's have a second look at the pink column, 1 through 5. Are we okay with 1 being 1, 2 being 2, and so on up until 5? 1 is public access to Jerome Park Reservoir. 2 is the T-beds maintenance. 3, compost project expansion. 4, universal curbside organics. 5, litter patrol funding. I hear any objections.
Can
Yep.
you scroll down, just to make sure there's nothing we want to argue for below?
Well, number 10, it shouldn't say DSNY.
Yeah, so it's gonna say CEP.
Thank you, thank you. All right,
Are 5 and 6 materially different?
are 5 and 6 materially different? Yes, because this is, yeah, actually, you're right.
One is street cleaning.
Yeah, but if
But-
it's
but
commercial.
Well, one is
if
litter,
it's
one
used-
is litter pickup, and one is garbage trucks, and one is street cleaning.
Correct, yes. Manual, could be a machine. I don't
It's a
know,
little- this
I
is a
think
better
they
idea.
are debatable, but that's my view, but I
Why don't you
don't
put
know.
a litter patrol in the commercial district? clean
Hold
streets?
on. Robert and Karen, do you believe
It's
5 and 6 could be joined?
Litter patrol's not commercial, though.
I think probably is largely.
No, they're completely different.
The commercial people have to take care of their own litter. You can't put a patrol there.
All right, from any committee member, any other objection, or this, I'm calling this to vote, sort of say, for submission to the budget committee. Any objection? Any abstention? I thank you so very much, and I'm closing this document. How do I do? I do
Thank
stop
you.
share. All right, good, excellent. And then I'm moving to our most advanced fun option, which is the document that was last year. Are you seeing this, guys?
No, not yet.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I shared or not screen. Hold on, let me, 1 second.
You just covered it up, so we can see it.
Yeah. All right, this is the resolution that was passed last year following the updates that DEP presented last year on the Tibet project. I am thanking Karen for converting this into a Word document. I try to follow her style, which is highly advanced, and at I went up until some point, but then I also started developing my style. So just to very quickly go through it, we have a 1 page and a little bit, let's say call it a 1 page of actual resolution, followed by a page and a half of appendices, right? Appendix, whatever. So in green is what I highlighted as potentially having the need to be updated, and in yellow, kind of my own personal suggestions. So I will just go through the main resolution to begin with, and then we deal with the rest. So here I just said that I think the formal DP thank you. Oh no, even for me it's more stressful, so thank you.
Well, it's hard not to
So
talk
we
to
have
them,
to, we have to update with whatever the formal title of the project is, we will use that. And then I don't think we are at a conceptual level anymore, but probably design, I don't know, that's what I said also, design review, I don't know, but however they frame it in the next 2 meetings that we have with them on Zoom and then on.
They're asking for preliminary and final approval. That's what they're asking for. That's what I put in. They go from conceptual to preliminary and final. Oh, God.
Preliminary is different than final. No, Karen, unmute, please.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I'm saying let's wait for an actual written PowerPoint, and then however they call it, that's how we use it. Okay, good. The second whereas gives sort of credit to all the previous meetings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it's the same edit basically, to call it however they will call it, and then to add the date on our future meeting, which will be May 24.
One
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So in this part, it says that it's presented daylight in Tibbetts Brook and Cortlandt Park and West 230th Bronx. That's okay, right? We don't want to say West 225th? I mean, the 225th, 230th is disputed.
I don't think that's big, so then we shouldn't include it. I mean, that's.
The ULURP only goes to 230th Street. The ULURP only goes to 230th Street.
I see, okay.
Okay, this one is referring to the 197 plan from 23, nothing changed here.
So one question I have is that, so this resolution, we already passed the resolution, the long version of this with all of the history.
Yes.
I was just wondering whether we needed to include all of the history in this second resolution, if it would make more sense just to have a whereas that says, whereas in October of whatever last year, Community Board 8 passed a resolution, and that way you knew where to go looking to find it, to get all of the history, but that would, it would allow us to kind of get to the heart of things faster.
Right.
Right, I
Personally,
agree.
I don't know, we could do that, absolutely, but.
Yes,
we
I
could also
agree.
Karen agrees, but I was just trying to.
Everybody agrees. Everybody agrees.
Okay, okay, so do you want me to cut the first, 1, 2, 3, 4,
The very,
4, 5. One second. Look at all these resolutions passed and referred. I could cut all of these.
yes,
And just say whereas, and we refer to the previous year resolution,
Yes.
and we jump straight to be it resolved. Wonderful.
well, I would vote with, starting with, whereas, they
June.
made this presentation on this date, which is the new presentation that they'll be
Correct.
doing,
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
24th date and the walkthrough date. And then the next one is, whereas we passed this resolution back on the other
Yeah.
date, that's the first two.
Yeah.
And then we're out.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. The only thing that Connor told me that I wanted to respect was to give credit to the past. Cause, so look at all this. Resolution from 16, 17, 18, right? So I feel
But they
like there's
could read
value,
it.
but no? Maybe
They
there's
could
no-
read
I
it.
mean, no, there's no value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but you
also-
could say, whereas the Bronx Community Board 8 has passed 4 resolutions pertaining to this, including the
no
last
problem.
one, which was on this date, and then you got the other stuff you need.
Okay, but let's move to, so potentially cut, I will put it here in course. No, cut, I will cut it after, I just want
Yeah.
to, okay. Wait, let me do.
Just enjoying the hand gesture.
Cut everything and refer to current year events only, and to the resolution from last year.
And to the resolution that has all of this stuff. We don't want to lose it.
From
That's the connection.
2021. Okay, good. Okay, good. Guys, please be patient with me so that I can remember what we do. Okay, good. But we come here where we already introducing tag, right? So I will see, this is not newly formed anymore, so I'm cutting this because it's been 2 years now of the tag, blah, 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 blah. And I will here update the date of 2023 only, and I will cut the previous date. And then here we go, the meat of what we are saying. Therefore, be it resolved, we support, here it says concept and goals, which I would leave as concept and goals, but Karen said delete and add preliminary and final.
Yeah. Whatever they call it, preliminary
Yeah,
design.
but whatever they call it, okay. Call it what they call it, I would say. Call it what DEP calls it. Okay, good. Hold on, I meant to use it in my bold style, but, okay, good. Wait, what are we saying? We support.
So, no,
Here
no,
we
no, no,
support.
no.
Great.
So we're supposed to. Oh, God. We're supposed to be saying here, not that we can say it yet. We can continue to say supports, but it should be community, that we urge that Community Board 8 approves the presentation as made on blah, 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 blah.
Hold on, Karen, hold on. What if we don't approve only 60% of, you know what I'm saying? We cannot say in advance. This
Well,
is
no,
just refers to the purpose.
But what I think what she's saying is that they need a resolution from us that supports their thing. So normally what we would do is we would go, therefore be it resolved, we support it, and then we would insert some caveats, you know.
Okay, so we don't want
Afterwards,
this
like
to be.
we support it with these following exceptions.
Okay,
Or
so
with
here,
the
yeah.
additions.
So last year you just said we supported the concept and goals, right?
So this
Do
time
you
we are
want-
approving, because we have a formal.
So you want to say approve instead of support? Approve the, whatever they will call it, the final design
You could
or
put
the
approve,
preliminary-
disapprove, you could put approve, disapprove, whatever you want. But, you know, because to make it look like we could be open, approve/disapprove, and we'll choose whichever one.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, okay. We are good with this first be it resolved and be it further resolved. Okay, the CBA continue to receive regular updates from DP on design changes, blah, blah,
I
blah.
could argue that we don't need that because what we're doing is, which I presented to you, is the design commission is about design. It's not about all these other things, which we all added because we didn't know if the DEP would come back. But now they're gonna come back and they're gonna keep coming back and they're gonna kill us with meetings. So we just have to get to the point where we look at what is a good design and all the parts of a good design and talk about those things, sustainable and resilient and innovative, and all those things that were listed that I sent to you before the meeting. I didn't send it to everybody, but you know, we could talk about that in terms of like, since the mission of the Public Design Commission is to make sure that publicly designed facilities look the same and have context and all those other things, we don't have to get into have them come back to us in that we could make a separate resolution if we thought that we wanted to just say that to them about the project in total. But in making a comment to the Public Design Commission, we should limit ourselves to design.
Robert Panuzzi.
Yeah, I disagree. I think we should have that because this is also an expression of the community board's engagement with the project. And it's fine, and the community board members will want that.
Yes, I agree with Robert. I think this is its own individual ask. If they turn around, if they change something dramatically, we should know. So we should continue.
No,
to
they
receive
will. Karen is right that they will show us, but the community board needs to understand that the ENS committee has their backs.
Which is why I suggested two resolutions, one that had all the minutia in it and one that was
It's just a clause, Karen. It doesn't take
No,
away
we
from the
killed that
force of the.
project. We killed that project last summer because there was too much stuff in here that had nothing to do with the design of the project.
We did, that's false. We didn't kill it.
No.
It got approved, number one, and we had support from the overwhelming support for the
They
community
did
board.
not get it, they did not get approved.
Not true, Karen, it got
What?
approved with like 2 or 3 abstentions, that's it. Of course, this is an approved resolution, Karen.
What do you mean it didn't get approved?
Are you kidding me? And I know who spoke sort of
The
against.
Public
and I
Design
spoke against the
Commission did not approve it. They said you have to come back and do
Oh,
this, that, and
this
the
is
other
design
thing.
commission.
We're not talking about your community board. We're talking about making a statement to the Public Design Commission, who doesn't even know what daylighting means.
Karen, this does not dissuade the Public Design Commission. The Public Design Commission will be fine with this if we have that in. Even though it's not directly material to
Well,
the
we
to
have
Public
to agree to,
Design Commission.
we have to agree to disagree, so that's fine with me.
The
Why
more
is
you
it-
put in, the more the nitpickers will pick. That's all my feeling. I've
And
listened
if you
to enough
leave out, and if you
hideous
leave it out,
meetings where everybody wants to go every word at the meeting, the full board meeting, as if they never had a chance to look at it, and they want to start at the beginning in 1985 and discuss every detail of this. I've seen it. At
what
the
is going to
board
be the
meetings, and
First
it's
Amendment?
horrible.
Amendment from the floor, a friendly amendment from the floor. What do you think that's going to be? What do you think that's going to be? Right there in front of you.
Okay, Rashida, give me a thought, keep or cut? Me too, I think so also. Okay,
Did you hear her?
Rashida,
I'm looking it over.
okay, all right. But so far we are on keep, Robert, me and Deb.
I'm okay with keeping it, yeah.
Me too.
But I mean, I do take Karen's point seriously that maybe there's a need for 2 resolutions. If, it's a pretty traditional, therefore be it resolved or be it further resolved for community board A to say, and by the way, before you're leaving at that door, you better plan on coming back again.
Sure.
And so, that I don't have any trouble with having that on either resolution or both. I think Karen's point was more that the PDC one should be more focused on design elements and less on environmental elements, right, Karen?
Yeah,
Is that
so
the
this
idea?
this doesn't take away from that. Let's
Sure,
do
so
exactly
this
what
should be on
Karen
both.
said.
Personally, I think that Karen's flag concerns the appendix, not this paragraph. That's what I think.
It's not worth fighting over.
Therefore be resolved. There may be
Let-
some need to clean that up. I guess this is it.
Rashida, are you okay with this? Continue to receive regular updates?
What does that have to do with the design?
Karen, it's about getting
Hold on,
votes.
Let her speak.
Do you
let her
realize this
speak.
has to get support from the community board to reach the PDC? This is what the community board needs to hear, to get votes for the substance, and the substance is what you're talking about.
The community board voted on it. Most of the people voted for it right away. Well, no problem. You don't need to
Then why
pander
cut this?
to a few people.
I'm not pandering to
Yeah,
a
but why
few,
cut
I'm
it?
including the whole. I'm looking at the need of the community board's
You only need a
continuing
majority.
engagement.
All
That's
right,
not
well,
what I want from this.
I
Not
disagree.
what I want from this. Okay,
I
but
disagree.
it's not
So
what
I'll
we,
be in I'll be in the minority.
okay.
Okay, guys, this is just draft one. Seriously, we don't have to, but we do think that a majority of us is okay with this. A final bit further resolved is that CBA attaches a statement of design priorities and recommendations, blah, 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 blah.
We don't need that. That's done. We don't need that.
Hold on one second. This is just a voting record.
Right, we don't need that part.
Hold on just 1 second to show you guys what we submitted last year, yeah? So these are 2 pages, no, a page and a half. It seemed to me that the first section was from ENS, and the second section was from Parks. I did not touch any of the Parks things, but on ENS, Karen flagged a bunch of things, and I didn't know kind of what to do with them.
So I thought that what.
1 second, just 1 second.
Yeah.
So this is what the second bid result refers to. Do you want to continue in this format or not? Meaning to have an appendix.
So I thought that, I think it was maybe Karen in one of the emails I read, was talking about, maybe it's Bob, the appendix almost becomes like a checklist. Did they do this thing? Did they do this? And so, I think the appendix, again, it lives in the thing we're referenced. We're just like, okay, the appendix is over here, but if there are things that we feel are missing from this, that we would add those things to call them out, right? That there needs to be an additional, but that they're design elements. And then if there's environmental or wetlands elements, that would be a separate resolution for specifically directed DEP, correct? That's kind of the thinking?
Robert?
We don't need any of that stuff. This is really, I mean, I think what we have to do is this will be a discussion that will go on for the next month. But that whole thing has to go out and we shouldn't attach anything more. If you want to make a resolution, make a resolution. There should be nothing else attached to it. If you want to make a master plan for how we're going to deal with it, different
Can
story.
I please answer because my hand was up?
Yes, please,
Okay.
Robert.
We're waiting for you, Bob.
Thank you. Get rid of the appendix. It's a separate issue. That's ongoing management with DEP. I want to incorporate the PDC criterion for its design into therefore be it resolved so that they understand we understand their goals. Okay, so we don't need that. That's a separate issue. I've already gone through it. And I've checked off everything there. On the ENS side, Deb, you have to do the same in parks, but the checklist is completed. We don't need it.
First, right?
What's that?
It seems we are in agreement that we can remove everything. We will also have 2 meetings with them, one on Zoom, one in person, where if we do feel the need in May to add things, we will add things. But at the moment, we all seem to be in agreement that this could be removed. Is this correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Of this resolution, yes. Then we'll bring some of this stuff back and we think something's missing.
Yeah,
Is this
in another
correct, Robert?
context. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that we have completed, we're focusing on PDC here. Okay,
No,
we
I'm
don't need
cutting
that
all
because
of
that's
this.
DEP.
Correct. Okay, oh, I see. So I'm cutting everything here. This is great.
Yep.
Okay, great.
I've already gone through, it's all out.
Okay, so then I will remove this section, the final section of we attach a statement. Well, I remove it for now, and then after we see what they present, we kind of have a follow-up conversation, seeing to decide if we do want to make some points specific, correct, and explicit. Is this what you guys are saying? I'm cutting this thing, yeah? I'm cutting it.
All right, cut that.
Okay,
cut it.
good. I cut it.
Because I think.
But you need to add one that talks about the design.
Okay.
Karen,
Therefore, we
say what
refer
you
to
want,
it.
that we need that. How should it read?
Karen, we are listening to you here.
Oh, you're muted. Muted.
No, Karen, unmute Karen.
Unmute.
Okay, I got it. So what we need one is about that checkoff list. We go through the list and see the ones that apply. We can't do it now.
Haven't seen the plan.
Yeah, no problem.
We have to look at the
I
list
will only-
and look at the project
Point on design.
and their mission
And the what?
And they're missing.
and the
things
mission
that
of the
are missing.
PDC.
Oh, okay, attach. Highlight what?
I mean, I could read some of them to you, Camelia, if you like, but I think I sent it to you. I don't know if you saw it.
If you
I
said
saw it.
3 years, three
Okay.
hours ago, I didn't see nothing past noon.
But Karen, we would want to kind of, I read your piece about kind of all of the real high level stuff that's supposed to be in good design. I was wondering if it should be kind of a be it further resolved that this historic project must meet the highest criterias of boop, boop, and boop. From
No,
that-
I think it
from
should be,
those-
we find that this project meets this. So
Sounds
if
good.
you look at the document that I put together, I put it
Okay,
online.
hold on, I'm saving this for now. This is the resolution, then I will add all the things that I can add after the presentations, kind of the formal things, the dates, blah, blah, blah. But right now, this is our resolution, great.
Can you just also send me a copy?
One second, hold on. Let
I
me
like
close
that
this.
wording. And then we find
somebody-
at the meeting whether it meets all those criterion.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
so I made a piece of, I
So
made
where
a
am I
document.
saving? One second, guys, I'm sorry. I will go, what should I do? How should I? Okay. Karen, we have 15 minutes. Do you want me to try to go into, like, my email and open your thing?
No, I could take, I could look for it because I put it, I put everything up
If you
on
have
the,
it closer, yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
might-
making you co-host, okay?
yeah, okay.
Nothing?
No, she's the design points in the appendix that she
Oh, she's gonna
worked
bring
on.
it into
She
the
will
thing.
bring it in, yeah.
Well, we have a
Yeah,
break
they're
in the
they're the
action.
standards that the PDC uses to judge its projects. So to imitate their language
read-
back to them is key.
Right, I'm just looking for it, just one second.
Bob, I don't know if you know this, I just want to raise that, at the Parks Committee meeting next week,
Yeah.
we're going to have the concessions unit talking about Van Cortlandt Golf Course. And we'll be having First Tee talking about, their current programming and then their transition as they take over the new Mashalou Golf House, including the moat maintenance.
Oh, that should be fun. Thanks, Deb.
Yep, wanted to make sure it's on your dance card.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Thanks.
Okay, all right, where is it? Okay, here. Oh, stop.
So I have a question about the sewer connection to the, when we're done with this, new business. Very old business.
We're getting there, Karen.
Can you see it? Wait,
Started, but it's not open yet.
you can't see it?
Nope.
Oh, it just says Karen has started sharing screen, double click to
You
enter
need to
full
pick the
screen mode.
screen, so just come out and pick the screen.
It didn't work?
You
No,
want to
you
make
don't
sure that your document is open, go back from sharing screen.
Okay, let me see where that, let me get rid of that.
Start sharing screen again.
Yeah.
I
just go
think
It's
back.
I'm
gotta be on your
stuck.
screen.
Okay. Can you see it now? No.
Oh, sorry,
No, we
again,
just see
share
you.
screen.
Okay, let me close this thing first.
But it has to be open on your screen, Karen.
It is open. It's just that I have so many things open. Can you see it now?
Nope. Ah, yes.
Let me make it smaller. So what I did was I took all those words that they had and I put it on a list and I wrote yes, no. So when we go through the revision, oh, this dog, he's so jealous of you people because I'm talking to you instead of him. So yes and no, and then we could choose one of these words or not one of these words. So you know what I'm saying? That's the plan.
But like we are preaching to them what their methodologies.
Well, that's how they make their decision. They make their decision
But that's
based on
what I'm
this.
telling. We are telling them what their process is.
No, I don't think so. I think what the
Or
idea
this is
is.
for our internal judgment.
Well,
sort of
then,
thing.
we'll look at their plan, right? And then we'll say, okay, is it sustainable? Is it resilient? Yes, yes, yes. And then we get to, does it have long-term, does it,
Yeah,
employ best practices or innovative technologies or something? And then if it doesn't, we're like, we would like it to actually be more innovative or creative.
So
We
this is
would
our
use
analysis.
that language to
Like
make
the
our therefore be it
I
resolved.
understand. Great,
I
great.
think
I
that's the
understand,
plan.
I understand.
This is a rating sheet for the presentation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can't do this yet because we haven't seen, what is it,
Right.
next week? What, the next
But
tag?
this is very useful, Karen.
Right.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, cool.
All right, thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Stop sharing, please, Karen. Okay, so, old business, new business, or German?
Wait.
Yep.
I got
Oh,
my
I
old
have new
business.
business. I actually have old
Okay,
business.
Bob,
I
Deb first, Bob second.
Okay, old business.
Um,
So I reached out to DEP regarding the sewer connection to the temporary golf house near the filtration plant that is part of the Parks property, right? That they've been pumping instead of connecting it to the sewer. And just asking for them to provide an update on, why am I yelling now? Asking them to provide an update on, just their communication and dialogue with Parks. So they responded today saying, please note that DEP does not have licensed plumbers, nor do our emergency contractors, so we do not have the ability to build house connections for anyone, nor is that activity in our purview under the city rules. It would have to be done as a Parks contract through DDC.
Okay.
So, it seemed to me that they were kind of doing that thing of focusing on the part that they don't do and not focusing on or offering up what they could do. But that, setting that aside, it seemed like the next step would be to go to Parks, Van Cortlandt Park, probably Alliance or Stephanie, and just talk to them about the connection from the temporary structure to the street, which DEP then would connect to the sewer, like normal structures. Does that sound like the right path? We did reach out to them to ask them what they mean by city rules, like which rules they're referring to directly, just to understand that part better.
It's like with your house, you're responsible up to the street.
Right.
That's why you get the insurance, we have the insurance so that if something goes wrong, my responsibility from my house to the street is covered by an insurance policy.
Okay.
So maybe you should say, oh, Bob got kicked off again? Admit him, okay. Maybe you should say.
Oh, he's in the waiting room.
Yeah, I pulled him in. Maybe you should say, how much does it cost to knock the building down?
Oh, that I don't know. And it's
Well,
already.
and you weigh that with how much does it cost to put the sewer line in? Let's see what the difference is.
The problem with that, I already went down that rabbit hole, is that Parks already owns it. So DEP is not on the hook for tearing it down. It's already Parks property, and it's already Parks property within the concession agreement and that they have.
Because
with
it's
DEP.
mitigation. That building is a mitigation. I don't know.
Mitigation, but within the concession agreement, it says that it's going to be built, and then once it's built, that it goes into possession ownership of Parks. So it doesn't put any onus on DEP.
They don't say that it's going to be torn down?
No. It says, yeah, that will become Parks property as soon as it's built.
No,
And that the maintenance garage will stay stay part of the concession agreement. That will be used by the Mosholu Golf Course. They both are Parks property. As soon as it's built, it became Parks property. So I lost that. That's not any leverage.
Okay, to be continued.
That's a concession. That's a concession agreement. That has nothing to do with the ULURP and the EIS and the agreement to build it. You build it and then you take it down.
Yeah, that's not how it's laid out in the agreement they have with Parks and with the concessionaire. I can send that to you. I can find it if you want.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with concession. Because it's a temporary building. It was a temporary building. It only has a approval to be temporary. I don't think it has a C of O if they, I don't know what they do in the.
Park, yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
to be
So,
continued.
yeah, if you have any advice.
Yeah, that would be good to find out if they have the C of O.
I don't know how you find that out though.
Well, I don't think they have a buildings permit, but they might, I've never seen it. I've looked at that park a long time. I really don't know. But you could call the buildings department, or somebody could call the buildings department and find out.
Well, you could ask Luke to do it. He used to work there.
Well,
True.
I think that they have to have a C of O because it has to be a certain status in order for people to go there.
Right, I mean, they've already been
Maybe.
doing classes and stuff there.
Yeah, there must be.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a CFO, because they've got all of this documented and who, in terms of who's owning it and who's keeping it and what's happening after they're done and all of it, it's already written down.
Guys, let's follow up on this, please.
I think it's
Robert-
strange that it's in the resolution for the concessionaire. That means they already made the deal.
Hmm?
Okay,
It's a temporary,
Robert, please.
to come down. It's a temporary building, just like the wall came down. That has to come down.
Karen, let me move on, please, I beg you. Robert.
I'll send the language to you, Karen.
Okay.
Do I have the floor?
We see
Yeah,
your
I
hand
had to
and
leave
some
the,
people.
yeah, I had to leave the meeting because my dog needed a walk, but it reminded me of something that Jody did. And that is to give you a live shot of, I believe, one of the first DEP flood monitors. And it's right in my block, which is a perfect place for this because it's right at the topo line where the water really gains speed. So Camelia, I wanted to remind you that about a year ago, I reported that FloodNet is a DEP initiative to place stations, radio stations and sensors throughout floodplains and anywhere that will help report on flooding. So I wanted to check in and see if you wanted to follow up with this for your future meeting. To me, it's crucial, and it's was really cool that I actually saw this. And everyone was annoyed that there was something going up and, you know, on a light stand and was impeding people getting out of their homes. But this is great. So I want to just, can we write a message to Effie and ask her, are they rolling out the flood sensors? This little box says New York City DEP. I don't know what else it could be. I really don't.
Right, cool.
And it's about the size of a lunchbox.
We can't really see very well because I think.
I know. I don't have the cinematic skills of Jody, but I'm gonna turn around now. But it's
but this is
actually
very cool.
just a great issue to bring to Effie and say we want to hear about this
Yeah.
program in our
I will
area.
ask her if she can provide the locations, if they were installed, at what locations. And I remember, cute dog, I remember we announced in September about this network. So I don't know if they already installed it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
that'd
know,
be amazing.
I know.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I will ask the office to ask. Thank you.
So
Thank you,
I
Robert.
wanted to leave everyone with some good news.
8:57, we did it again. Kindly somebody, thank you all, thank you so much. I know
Yes,
it
I
was
make a
kind of
motion
a
to
lot.
adjourn.
And,
second
yes, all right, seconded, and,
all set.
anybody against, anybody
Good night,
abstaining? No,
everybody.
we are ready to close.
Okay, good night.
Thank
Good
you
night.
so much.
Good night, everybody.
Send out
Good night.
everything that needs to be sent, and thanks
Good
again,
night.
thank you.
Got a lot done. You
Oh, I
guys are
figured you were
great.
asleep by now.
No, I've been here. I'm listening and learning. Talk
Listening and
tomorrow.
learning.